welcome to my show. I'm Susan Smith, and this is where I give conservative views on local and national issues. I have several announcements to give you, so get your pen and paper ready. Before we get started with the guest tonight, who is Scott Voorhees of KFAB 1110 AM radio. All right, announcements. Item number 1. Nebraskans are participating in a national rally called Guns Across America on Saturday, January 19th at noon, the steps of the Capitol building in Lincoln on K Street. This is a family friendly event in support of the Second Amendment, and Senator Bill Kintner is the featured speaker. Item number 2, Nebraska Taxpayers for Freedom is having their monthly meeting this Wednesday, January 16th at 6:30 p.m. at the Millard Library, 132nd West 132nd Westwood Lane. That's just a couple blocks south of 132nd West Center Road. Number 3, mark your calendars for February 15th. That's the day the United States Supreme Court will hear evidence from Dr. Orly Tate, alleging President Barack Hussein Obama used forged documents and a stolen Social Security number. She's also holding a rally in Washington, D.C. in front of the White House and in front of the Supreme Court building. Anyway, more of that information is up on my website. Item number 4, as you know, we've been following an issue about racist, anti-white, anti-American La Raza course in Arizona public schools, and I told you that I'd look into it in Omaha public schools to make sure that anti-white revolutionary talk wasn't being taught here in ours. So the OPS website indicates Mexican-American studies are taught at South High and several middle schools. So here's what's happened. Starting on January 5th, I asked for the name of materials used in this course by email to Edward Castro, teacher of social studies at South High. To date, no response. Nothing. On January 8th, I left a phone message for the dual language coordinator for South High, Jack Bangert, who called me back the next day and referred me to the head of social studies at South High, Sean Husher, who called me back within a couple of hours and referred me to the OPS district supervisor of social studies, who is Barry Thomas. And I left a message with his secretary on January 11th, and to date there's been no response. So I do want to thank Mr. Bangert and Mr. Husher for getting back to me so quickly. What I don't understand, and what looks very suspicious, is the fact that neither Mr. Castro nor Mr. Thomas have called me back with the title of the material they used to teach in this course. It's not brain surgery. Now, if you're as concerned about this as I am, please contact Mr. Barry Thomas at 402-557-2436. Ask them what is the title of the materials they use in the Mexican-American class. And again, all this information is up on my website, thesusansmithshow.wordpress.com, and you'll want to take a look at the Take Action page. That's where you'll find this information. Now, we're going to get started with my guest tonight, Scott Voorhees. Scott, thanks for being here tonight.
This is a real kick, Susan. Thank you very much for having me. Now, I'm an Omaha kid. I grew up watching public access. State Senator Ernie Chambers, Councilman Frank Brown. I didn't grow up watching Frank Brown, but I've been watching these guys for years. And to go from hanging out with my friends in junior high and prank calling the hosts on the station to actually being a guest on this station is a real thrill for me. So thank you very much.
Well, Scott, you're my first guest.
Lifelong dream. I have high ambitions.
Well, just because Scott and I are more on the conservative side, we want to make sure that all of our liberal friends out there feel welcome. And so we're going to run one of Scott's political parodies called All My Liberal Friends Are Coming Over Tonight.
You gotta keep an eye on the battle that we face, and you see it everywhere. It is the Tea Party. President Obama, this is your army. We are ready to march. Let's take these son of a bitches out and give America back. Tell America where we belong. Thank you very much. I got $300 million burning hole in my hand. Oh, it's hard to be the president.
Scott, let's go on to
That's
education.
really bad singing.
You know, I love it. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit down in the dumps or feel those liberal tentacles reaching out and choking us, I just play one of your political parodies and I'm up and running again like a good boxer.
I'm glad to help.
Absolutely. So we're going to go. Let's do the education thing first. You've talked many times on your show about the OPS Social Justice Diversity Manual.
Yeah. That's the manual. A couple years ago, OPS bought the what's it called?
The Social Justice Diversity Manual.
Yeah, they bought this thing, Cultural Proficiency Journey. That's the name of the book. And they bought it with taxpayer money, gave it out to every single teacher, administrator, janitor, and lunch lady all throughout OPS, and said, here, read this book, and then get into groups and talk about it. Now, they didn't say, here's a problem that we think can be fixed with this book, but the book details, among other things, that there's white privilege in our schools, and that these teachers need to do something about it. Doesn't say what they're supposed to do about it, and there's no guidance from OPS as to what they're supposed to do with this information, but it's ludicrous to me that there's this concept of white privilege that's helped some students get ahead in schools and not others. I mean, certainly, if you're trying to talk about minorities, tell that to the Asian kids. They're doing just fine. But, you know, there's so many other cultural issues as to why some individual students, not by race, not by gender, not by how much money their parents make, but there are so many reasons why individuals don't do well in school that we could address by talking to those students, getting them towards counselors. But we don't look at students like individuals anymore. Every year OPS comes out and has their, well, here's how the 8th graders are doing. Here's our dropout rate. Here's how many people graduated who started here as freshmen. Now, I'm a parent. I've got a child in OPS. I don't care how everyone else is doing. I care about how my child is doing, how my child is getting his or her work done. And if everyone took that same standpoint with their own children, our schools would be fine. You know, the point is we have higher dropout rates and lower grade point averages anymore because we don't put an emphasis on educating individual students anymore. We put an emphasis on getting students to sit there in class. We don't care if they're being disruptive. We don't care if they're threatening other students or the teacher. We get federal money tied into every student who's sitting here in the classroom today. So it's just about, all right, just come here, sit, try not to kill anybody. And if we do that, then the school gets money, and about, you know, the education part of it has taken a real back seat, and that's unfortunate.
I know. The school district spent $133,000 on those diversity manuals. And then I believe some part in there it even said that you have to accept the fact that you're a racist before you can accept or teach diversity.
That's right. If you're a teacher, you need to realize the role you've played in passing white privilege along through the years. And a lot of teachers are saying, I thought I was just teaching math. I didn't realize there was a black way or a white way or a Hispanic way or a Jamaican way or a Samoan way or whatever, an Inuit way of doing mathematics. But apparently there is.
I know. It's outrageous, Scott. The whole world's gone mad but you and me. Okay, now you talked about was a 3 or 5 year old in Kearney who was deaf and was signing his name, and they stopped him because it was similar to gang signs.
There's a 3-year-old kid in Grand Island just last year, and this kid's name is Hunter. He's hearing impaired. So obviously at 3 years old, you're not sitting there in a 4th grade class or whatever. You have a special curriculum for kids to help them learn sign language. And this kid's name was Hunter, so his sign language, and I can't do it, but it involves, you know, a hunter using weapons to hunt. That's a 3-year-old kid, and Grand Island schools determined that the way he signs his name is running against the school's weapons policy. And so they suspended this kid. No different than if a 14-year-old kid came barreling through the doors of Grand Island High School with a gun. They treated this 3-year-old who was hearing impaired and who signs Hunter the same way they treat that 14-year-old in my scenario. That kind of zero-tolerance BS needs to stop. Pardon my language.
It does. There's just
10:30 at night, I can say whatever I want, right?
There's no common sense anymore, and that leads us into the principal who didn't she put an order through to stop serving peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because it's racist?
Yeah, that was up in the Pacific Northwest. I forget, Seattle, Oregon, someplace up there. There was a teacher or a principal who said, we just need to change the way we do things in school. Like our lunchroom shouldn't serve peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because in some cultures they don't have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So we need to be sensitive to those cultures and and serve something that's more culturally diverse. I'm like, I don't care what background you're from, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are delicious. And by the way, we're not in that culture. This is America.
Right.
We have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We have hot dogs. We have goulash. No, all right, so maybe someone in Beijing doesn't know what goulash is. That's probably better for them. But still, this is America. This is what we serve. And no one, I don't think anyone ever looked at the cultural implications of putting peanut butter on toast.
Scott, who thinks of that?
This woman...
The left-wing liberals, that's who. Okay, now final story on this segment. A teacher in New York was recently told that she had to remove her religious prayer box from her classroom or get fired. Now, she was also banned from the Bible study club. Meanwhile, the lesbian, gay, and transgender and bisexual social worker can have posters of LGBT and all this all around, and that's okay. What's your comment to that?
Now, this is true for some people who are LGBT people, but for some people, being gay is like a religion. I'm not saying they don't have any other religion, but case in point, a couple of nights ago at the Golden Globe Awards, Jodie Foster kind of, put, half her body out of the closet and was kind of coy about it. But, come on, everyone's known this forever. But she didn't come out of the closet because it was liberating for her, or she wanted to recognize any partners she's had over the years or anything like that. She came out because she was tired, I think. I haven't talked to Jodie about this, but I think she came out because she was tired of these gay activists constantly berating her, saying, you've got to come out of the closet. It's the most important thing. You won't take a stand on these issues. For you not to be out as a strong lesbian woman is a crime. You're doing your fellow women a disservice. And she's like, I just want to act and be a human being. This is my private life. But I think she was so tired of this agenda to get people who are in the closet out of the closet. These people who feel this way in the gay community, they don't care about the feelings of this person that's in the closet. They get, I think, points for getting someone to come out of the closet. It's like they can go back to their gay meetings and say, I got another one to come out of the closet, without considering the ramifications of what they're doing to this individual. And that to them has become almost like a religion. So if you're not going to allow someone with a Christian standpoint to have these things, then you have to consider, all right, how is this a religion to them, and get those religious symbols out of the way, too.
I agree. And I think on that note, we're going to play Scott's political parody on the ACLU's Greatest Hits.
Love popular music, but there's just too much Christianity in it. How can you enjoy your favorite songs without being offended? Well, now, there's a CD so awesome, it will almost make you believe in a higher power. It's the ACLU's Greatest Hits. Careful, Brian Wilson. It's the ACLU's Greatest Hits. Featuring Eric Clapton. Neil Diamond.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway.
John Denver. The ACLU's Greatest Hits. Available now on record, cassette, 8-track, and CD. Take that evil money that says "In God We Trust" on it and send $19.95 of it to the ACLU right now. We'll rush your order. If you celebrated any religious holidays, this would be the perfect gift for such an occasion. Straight from the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, it's the ACLU's Greatest Hits.